Hey everybody, Marshall123, excellent. Welcome to my weekly podcast for Samurai Jack Season 5, Episode 7. Where we'll be discussing the events of Episode 7. By we, I mean me. Actually flying solo this week. If you saw my Dragon Ball Super podcast, you'll know that Gecko is actually in the weather this week. I hope that you will all go wish him to feel better and give him your best wishes and help him feel better, and maybe he'll be able to join me next week, but I'm not sure. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Anyway, guys, I'll try to make this as painless as possible. I have no one to work off of, so I'm going to try and kind of go through this kind of quickly, and I will try my best not to ramble too much. Anyway, this episode was pretty good, and like I keep saying, every one of these episodes keep getting better and better. The episode opens up with Jack with Jack in the brief past. He still has his sword at this point, and his robe, and no hermit beard. And he's walking up a mountain, presumably looking for a new portal to the past. He comes across a little goat guy, a little like ram, little mountain goat. That starts leading him up the mountain, or following him up the mountain, and then it starts leading him, presumably somewhere, and it actually leads him to a time portal. He also, accumulates two more rams. I guess they're the guardians because he comes across a stone that has the ram's face on it. So I'm guessing they're the guardians or something. They reside up there, and they're some kind of worshipped. I don't know. But it turns out there is actually a time portal at the top of this mountain. They lead Jack to it, and of course Jack jumps right in, and he begins to go back into the past. And it's like, oh, cool, he's going back to the past to defeat Aku, whatever. Well, lo and behold, a long black arm reaches the portal, grabs him by his shirt collar, by the collar of his robe, and throws him out. And then, guess who it is? It's actually Aku. And Aku shows up and destroys the portal, and he's like, woo! That was a close one. I didn't think you'd get here so quickly, And I'm sorry to make Aku sound like a Mexican. I don't mean to. I'm not very good at the whole, Mako voice. But Aku destroys the portal, and of course Jack is pissed. I mean, he was literally inches from his goal. And he attacks Aku, and Aku's like, whoa there, I know better than to go near that sword of yours. And he's like, but don't worry, I'll leave you some friends to play with. And then he summons these three giant beasts, seemingly from nowhere. And Jack, of course, in his rage, kills all three of them by stabbing them in the head. After he kills all three of them, it turns out that it was the little baby goats that followed him up the mountain or whatever. So he actually turned out, and they changed back after he killed them, and it made Jack really sad, of course, because he killed three little innocent goats that didn't deserve it, And then the whole mountain starts to starts to crumble, and all of these, like, he's surrounded by a bunch of slabs, these giant slabs. One of these slabs fall over and knock his sword out of his hand. He's trapped underneath it. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. The portal that was destroyed, Aku left this giant, pit, that goes all the way to the bottom of the mountain. You know what I'm saying? It goes all the way to the bottom. Probably even deeper. Miles and miles and miles and miles down. It's almost bottomless. It has a bottom, but it's not. It's bottomless, but it has a bottom. You know what I'm saying? You can't see the bottom. So anyway, the sword gets knocked out of Jack's hand, and it rolls into this pit, and it just falls. And Jack, for whatever reason, doesn't go after it. I don't know why. I figured Jack would have climbed down or had gotten some animal to help him, because in the very next scene we see him in the future, present Jack as we know him, 50 years, with Ashi riding atop a large bird. They go to the site where he lost his sword, and they descend into the hole with the giant bird. And it takes them, I'm guessing, a day or so, because it cuts to them resting on a cliff about, at some point down in the hole. They're resting on a cliff, they have a fire, and the bird's sleeping. Ashi, they're all taking a break. They're all taking a break. And then they finally descend to the bottom with the bird, and they have torches, and they're looking around, and they can't find the sword. Jack comes to the conclusion that the sword isn't there, because it's not that he lost it, but the sword actually abandoned him because of his rage. So he has to go get it back. He has to summon it back to himself. So they go back up to the top, and they have a really cute moment with Ashley and the bird. The bird like nuzzles Ashley and stuff, and then flies away. So then Jack walks over the edge of the cliff and sits down to meditate. And while he's meditating, Ashley says that she'll wait here with him. Then I'm guessing because he'll be in deep meditation for so long, he's gonna need her to watch his back anyway. So he goes into meditation, and as he's meditating, Ashley sees over the horizon a very large army heading towards the mountain. The scene then cuts to Jack, and Jack sitting down meditating, and he goes through this like astral like projection journey or whatever, and he ends up in this field, and he walks across this field and comes to a raft. He gets on this raft and travels across this river. And then as he's doing that, he comes across a small, tiny house on the water. And inside this house, he finds a tiny blue man, like looks like a monk, a tiny blue monk. And the monks asks him, "Are you lost?" And Jack says, "Yes." And the monk said, "Ah, good. Then come inside and let's make tea." So it's okay. Let's make some tea. Fine. So cut back to Ashley. She intercepts the army, and they're like these, ugly orc-looking guys. And they told me, "Hey, mate, I'm going to kill the samurai, mate. Mate." And they talk like that. And then Ashley basically says, "No, that's not happening." They laugh at her. So she just starts decimating these guys. I'm talking like just destroying them. She pushes them all the way back to the bottom of the mountain and stuff. And she's just decimating them, murdering them. Meanwhile, we cut back to Jack, and he's sitting there calmly making tea. Now, if you guys don't know anything about, Japanese tea making ceremonies and stuff, I'm not an expert on it, but I have seen documentaries before. Japanese tea making is actually a very precise process. There's a ceremony to everything. There's a specific way you have to, position the spoons and the teapot and everything else, again, how you have to make the tea. And that's what Jack's doing in this scene. He's basically doing a recreation of the traditional tea-making ceremony. If you guys have never seen it, I suggest you go and Google it right now and look at it. It's actually a pretty painstaking process, but it's amazing to watch the amount of, precise movement that goes into this, something as simple as making tea. And that's all about, the whole Japanese thing of doing, if you're going to do something, do it with perfection. That's how that whole culture is ran off of when it comes to artisan projects and, martial arts and even architecture. If you're going to do it perfectly. And then we cut back to Ashley, and it's just basically more of the same. She's just destroying this army of orc guys. Then we go back to Jack. He finishes making the tea, and this goes back and forth a couple times. But then it cuts to Ashley again, and there's apparently one more person that has made it up the mountain, and then attempts to shoot Jack with an arrow. Ashley, of course, saves Jack. Turns out that it's actually Ashley's mother who has come to finish the job she set Ashley out and her sister to do. And her and Ashley have a confrontation. She basically says it's not too late. You can still earn the favor of Aku. Ashley, of course, refuses, tells her that she's wrong, and they have a fight. And Ashley's mother is just, is wearing the same skin-tight clothes, and they get into a fight. It's a pretty cool fight. Ashley's mother gains the upper hand temporarily. She attempts to kill Jack. And as she lunges at Jack, Ashley actually throws an arrow, piercing her mother right through her stomach, or right through her back, and she falls off the cliff, presumably dead. I guarantee she's not. We'll see her at least one more time, I'm sure. And then we return to Jack. Ashley passes out after that, and we return to Jack, and he serves the tea to the monk. And the monk takes a sip, and the monk says, "Oh, this tea is terrible," and it's because he has so much anger in his heart. At this point, the red Jack, or like the angry Jack, as I like to call him, manifests and starts yelling at the monk, saying, "You know where the sword is. You need to tell us. We went through all of this, and we suffered, and yada yada yada." Just basically all this pent up anger that Jack has had, and arrogance that Jack has had over the situation. And then Jack starts telling his angered self that, but yeah, Jack tells the angered part of himself that, he no longer needs him. The angry guy, they have an exchange of words, but Jack has overcome his anger at this point, and basically says that you have blinded us, but now I can see. And then Jack opens his eyes, and these big laser beams come out of Jack's eyes, which I'm guessing that's him reaching his moment of clarity. That's him letting go of the anger and the rage that he's gained over the years, the doubt and all the negative feelings. Basically, Jack's, letting it all go. And there's a flash of light, and Jack appears. Before Jack appears, the three celestial beings that originally bequeathed the sword to his father. And one looks like Ra, one looks like Thor, I think, and one looks like, I don't know, some Eastern deity. I think Shiva with the 6 arms or whatever. Excuse me if I'm wrong. The same people we saw in the Samurai Jack Birth of Evil movie, our TV special way back when, that originally gave Samurai Jack's father the sword in the first place, that which was passed down to Jack. So that's really cool. And they basically say, like, "Oh, you have proven yourself worthy. You are chosen just as your father was before you." And the sword returns to Jack, and not only does it return to Jack, Jack, gets his robe back, and the beard, the scruffy beard goes away, gets his top knot back, and then it's like he returns to his original form. And that's when he wakes up. And it's a really cool scene. It's an amazing scene, and I really liked it. It really hit me in, right in my chest, because just the idea that he's returning to, he's becoming Samurai Jack again. So then he wakes up, and she says that, Jack wakes up, and then Ashley's like, Ashley's of course passed out. Jack wakes her up, and Ashley's like, "Oh, you got a haircut and a shave," and yeah, shave and a haircut, and it's just kind of a cute scene. But and Jack comments on like all the dead soldiers and all the arrows. It's like, yeah, you've been really busy, So that was kind of funny. And then it cuts to like down the battlefield. They're like, all the guys are like pierced with arrows and spears and swords and stuff, and it cuts to one of the guys, and the guy's like, "Ow, ow." It's just like little stuff like that they throw in. It's hilarious. Jack, of course, thanks Ashy, and Ashy's like, "So what next?" And Jack just turns towards the screen and is like, "Oh, cool," And it's like, yes. So that's what the episode cuts out. But yeah, it was a really good episode. I wish I could discuss it more. I just feel like I just feel like I just kind of feel like with no one to talk, no one to work off of or whatever, it would just be me rambling. Let me see here. We do actually have a winner for this week's podcast. Let me look here. Okay, so this week's winner is actually once again James Porter. James Porter writes, "I loved Scary Mooch in this episode. The fact that he is also musical is brilliant. I love the cultural aspect of the character." That is true, James. Thank you for commenting that. We did actually find out that not we, but Gecko actually found out that Scaramouche is actually a name for like a jester like bard from way back in like the Renaissance period and everything else like that. It's basically a goofy like underling that is musical, and that kind of really does fit Scaramouche a lot. But yeah, you're right, James. Thank you so much. You're a winner twice in a row this week. Let me go ahead and invite you guys to get down there and comment in the comments below. Don't forget to tell us about your your ideas, your thoughts, your theories about the show or even about the podcast. As long as it's relevant, we want to hear it. Please get down there and comment, and you just might end up a winner in our comment spotlight next week. But other than that, guys, I'm rambling. I'm so sorry that I was alone this week, and hopefully that'll change next week. I know I'm not the best when it comes to doing this solo. So again, big apologies, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and of course, I will see you next week.